Titanium is a geopolitical metal.
Could you share with us a little more about the nature of this metal?
We possess both the necessary raw materials and the technology.
To what extent might Russia and China pose challenges for us?
We're witnessing a major shift in geopolitics, a significant one. Japan and Ukraine are now the only remaining producers of titanium metal. No other country has this capability.
So our specialists are invaluable and we should be proud of them?
We need to use this opportunity.
And how can we capture the attention of our Western partners?
We have to act, to put in the effort to revitalize the titanium industry, and we can achieve this within a very short term.
How short?
Months.
That's an optimistic estimate. It gives me hope for the future. Welcome to the YouTube channel of the Ukrainian Titanium Industry Association. Today, we have a special guest with us, Andriy Brodsky, the founder of VSMPO company, to discuss not only titanium but also the pressing issues it has brought to the forefront. Andriy, glad to see you. Today I'd like to ask you to tell us, as an expert, a person who knows everything about titanium, about how the war started in 2014 and the full-scale invasion in 2022 has challenged the global titanium market. Factually, all Western nations heavily relied on Russia and China for their titanium needs. What has changed, and can we, Ukraine, as a country of titanium, change anything as well?
You know, almost everything has changed, especially with the outbreak of a full-scale war. China and Russia together account for 72% of global titanium metal production. When we add to this group almost friendly for them Kazakhstan, the figure climbs to nearly 80%. As the result, we have Japan and Ukraine that are the sole alternative sources for the production of titanium metal. Therefore, we have an exceptionally high dependence, where our partners and allies rely on metal that is the basis for modern weaponry.
How can Ukraine help, and what do we have?
We have raw materials, we have the necessary technology, we have a one-of-a-kind facility, Zaporizhzhia Titanium and Magnesium Combine, which unfortunately is not operating now due to the ongoing war. However, we have the capability to rebuild the supply chains to support our allies and provide the required titanium for weapon manufacturing.
Well, so we can explain to our viewers that in order for the United States to provide us with a new M777, first they would need to source titanium from Ukraine to manufacture these weapons. As an alternative, they can get it from Russia. But we hope that our allies will not do it and will avoid conducting business with a terrorist country.
They certainly will not continue to cooperate with a terrorist country. The United States ceased purchasing titanium from Russia immediately after the day of February 24th last year. Europe, somewhat hesitant initially, has also followed suit in recent months. You've mentioned a weapon, the M777. It is truly exceptional weapon. These howitzers are manufactured by BAE Systems, a British-American company that is now in the process of resuming production. While we won't delve into any classified information, it's evident that they are actively seeking a reliable source of titanium for these unique howitzers.
And how can we as a country, as Ukrainians, possibly you as a representative of the industry, ensure the attention of our Western partners to us?
You know, we have to take an action. We just have to work. We must all contribute in our respective roles and fulfill the responsibilities. This is the reason why we founded the Ukrainian Titanium Industry Association, with the aim of reviving the titanium industry. In the near future, what we can do is to focus on restarting the Zaporizhzhia Titanium and Magnesium Combine, followed by a comprehensive modernization. Perhaps it might be also protected with advanced air defense systems to safeguard the production of the critically needed titanium for our partners and our defense sector. Finally, it's essential to put into effect the state program that was initially outlined in NSDC decision dating back in 2021. If I'm not mistaken, it was approved during the summer and the presidential order was issued in 2021. We should develop a concept and adopt the state program aligning with the NSDC decision and the presidential order. The president also recently addressed this matter in his speech at the Verkhovna Rada. You have talked about it just recently.
Yes, right. We've discussed that titanium is the metal of victory, and we all need to speed up. I mean, all Ukrainians and especially officials with influence in these processes to bring Ukraine closer to the victory. It's absolutely clear to all of us that without access to Western weaponry, sustaining our fight becomes a challenge. I'd also like to remind you to watch our first episode about titanium and to gain a deeper understanding of this remarkable metal. Andriy, I will continue to ask you my tricky questions. Can we assert that the war has actually polarized the titanium market? In other words, there are the US, Europe, and Ukraine on one side and Russia and China on the other. To what extent, for example, can Russia and China potentially disrupt our cooperation within this expansive global economic market?
The world has already become polarized, and this division isn't limited solely to titanium. It has become entirely polarized. This process is now underway. It represents a big geopolitical shift, a huge one, and we are still at the beginning of it. We're just beginning to grasp its implications. We're at the outset of this shift. Titanium is a geopolitical metal. Although its production is not quite a big one, its versatility is unparalleled, as you rightly mentioned, with nothing able to fly, fire, or sail without it. Both China and Russia will definitely try to hamper Ukraine, and first of all, our partners. The United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, they will try to do everything they can, the worst in terms of titanium. This is a significant geopolitical shift, and here, I repeat, titanium plays a role, unfortunately not the least.
Maybe it's not a bad thing, because Ukraine still has these reserves and capacities, and we have the technology. And then, if we put all these components together and produce titanium metal, and use it to make wonderful things for our victory, do we have these chances?
What I'd like to emphasize is that we have the most valuable thing, and it's not raw materials. Raw materials are abundant in many parts of the world, be it in Australia, Africa, South and North America, and unfortunately even in Russia and China. Plenty of it. However, few knows how to produce titanium metal, and this is what sets us apart. Our profound expertise in it, particularly using modern methods. Ukraine still possesses a substantial scientific and technical potential. In my opinion, this holds far greater value than the deposits we have within our country.
So our specialists are invaluable and we should be proud of them?
We need to use this opportunity, and we need to offer our technological solutions, our technology capabilities to our partners and allies.
I think it is also worth noting that Ukraine has become a place where a more environmentally friendly production technology for titanium metal was invented. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
This is our technology. The innovative technology you're referring to is the VELTA TI process. I could talk about it for hours, but I am the founder of the Titanium Industry Association, and I don't want VELTA being associated so much with this. In addition to the fact that we have developed this method and are now implementing it in production. Ukraine also possesses an established but older technology known as the crawl method. Until recently, only 7 countries in the world retained this technology, including Ukraine. It's noteworthy that the United States, for instance, left this list of 7 countries in 2020.
Why?
The impact of the COVID and the challenges it brought forced the closure of the company that was engaged in production using this technology in the United States. As a result, the United States is currently making concerted efforts to revitalize titanium metal production using various technologies with a preference for more advanced methods, preferably a new one.
Then they should contact us, or rather you. So, let's continue. Could you simply explain our viewers what titanium assets Europe and the US have? You have already said that the US has closed its production facilities. To what extent can the United States and Europe, without Ukraine, continue to produce titanium?
You see, in Europe, the availability of titanium is quite limited, with deposits only found in Norway and Ukraine and no other significant sources within Europe. While the United States does have substantial deposits, their development has been relatively slow, and there are few industries focused on extracting titanium raw materials. But I want to emphasize once again that the true game changer is processing and the technology for producing titanium metal products. It does not exist today in Europe, the United Kingdom, or the United States. Unfortunately, the sole facility operating based on the older crawl technology is located in Ukraine. This is what makes Ukraine unique.
Moving deeper to the industry insights. It's well known that major companies like Boeing rely on titanium for their production processes. How have these significant players, including Boeing and others, responded to the international community's appeals to cease purchasing Russian titanium?
You know, Boeing has decided to stop the procurement. It was very difficult and very long. Nevertheless, a year ago there was a big titanium conference in the US. This is a global conference called Titanium USA, which was attended by almost all major players in the global titanium market. Unfortunately, even the Russians were there. Boeing has officially announced that they have halted purchases from Russia. They officially claimed that they were preparing for this situation. As it turned out, they needed time and they stockpiled titanium raw materials, either sponge or titanium ingots, and these stocks will be sufficient until the beginning of 2025. They are independent, but only till 2025. By that time, they are looking forward to new supply chains and emerging producers.
And this is our chance to get into these chains.
Yes.
So, in fact, we can say that titanium is now, in principle, a sanctioned commodity on the global market. It is no longer bought from Russia and China, for example.
Unfortunately, it's not officially on the list, unfortunately. If it were up to me, I would ask our partners and allies to impose sanctions on Russian titanium producers. And there is only one, VSMPO-Avisma, for global supplies of raw material. If we leave a Russian company without raw material supplies to the world stage, it will pose a challenge for them and we will have fewer attacks.
Yes, because in fact, this is how Western countries are sponsoring Russia and, meaning the war.
Now, as far as I know, as far as I researched the market, they are not getting supplies from Europe or the United States. After this interview was recorded on September 25, it became known that the United States had finally imposed export restrictions on VSMPO-Avisma, the world's largest titanium producer, whose products are widely used by Russia's military-industrial complex. According to the government, the sanctions against VSMPO-Avisma are being imposed because the corporation is acting against the interests of national security or foreign policy of the United States. Before the full-scale war started, unfortunately, the supplies used to come from Ukraine, unfortunately. Yes, there is such a fact, but with the outbreak of the war, these supplies stopped. Now, according to my information, the supplies are coming from Vietnam. Vietnam is not controlled by the United States, it is not controlled by the European Union, and they are quietly making money by supplying it to Russia.
Last, but not the least question. Let's summarize what is the role of Ukraine in the global titanium market now, how it will impact the situation, and maybe you can share some of your forecasts.
Ukraine can restore supply chains very quickly. This will not completely close all the gaps that our allies have. But Ukraine can contribute to this and seriously contribute. This can be done in a very short time.
How short?
Months.
Interesting.
Yes, months. Within the coming years, Ukraine has the potential to reconstruct and create new opportunities, entirely replacing Chinese and Russian metal in the market.
That's an optimistic estimation. It gives me hope for the future.
But we have to work for that. We are working on it.
Thank you very much for your time. Friends, a quick reminder that you are watching the channel of the Ukrainian Titanium Industry Association, and today we had an interview with Andriy Brodsky, the founder of VSMPO and the founder of the association. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, and get even more interesting news about titanium and the titanium industry. See you soon!